This is CBN NewsWatch.
Thanks for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Mark Martin. In a historic speech this morning, President Trump urged the global community to put an end to religious persecution. Our Caitlin Burke is here now with more. Caitlin.
Mark, President Trump is at the United Nations for a 3-day visit during its General Assembly. The event is being called a global call to protect religious freedom. This makes him the first U.S. sitting president to give a speech at the UN solely focused on religious freedom. He took to the stage today, calling the issue one of his highest priorities. He pledged an extra $25 million to go towards protecting religious freedom and announced a new coalition of U.S. businesses meant to encourage the private sector to protect people of all faiths in the workplace.
Too often, people in positions of power preach diversity well, silencing, shunning, or censoring the faithful. True tolerance means respecting the right of all people to express their deeply held religious beliefs.
Other topics of focus on the agenda at the UN this week include Trump working to build a coalition to confront Iran after attacks on Saudi Arabia and climate change. But the White House released a statement before the event saying Trump's main focus there is on, quote, broadening international support for ongoing efforts to protect religious freedom in the wake of increasing persecution of people on the basis of their beliefs and a growing number of attacks on and destruction of houses of worship by state and non-state actors. Mark, back to you.
All right, thank you, Caitlin. Back in Washington, Democrats are accusing President Trump of pressuring a foreign leader to investigate presidential challenger Joe Biden. The whole incident has Democrats ramping up their talk of impeachment. President Trump admits he discussed former Vice President Biden with the Ukrainian president, but he denies any wrongdoing. Democrats say there's only one way to find out: release the transcripts of that phone call.
The conversation I had was largely congratulatory, was largely the fact that we don't want our people, like Vice President Biden and his son, creating to the corruption already in the Ukraine.
We're going to have more on these stories and others this evening on Faith Nation. You can watch it here on the CBN News Channel. With nearly all the votes counted, Israel began the next phase of forming a new government on Sunday. But as Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem, it still remains unclear who Israel's next leader will be.
Israeli President Reuven Rivlin met with each party that won seats in the election. He wanted their recommendation on whether Benny Gantz of the Blue and White or Benjamin Netanyahu of the Likud should form the next government before making his decision. So far, it appears Benjamin Netanyahu might have one more recommendation than Benny Gantz and could get the first chance to form a government. After 10 members of the joint list, a combination of Arab parties, recommended Gantz, Netanyahu called on his opponent for a unity government.
Citizens of Israel, it happened just as we warned. The joint list recommended Benny Gantz for prime minister. Now, there are two options. One is that a minority government will emerge that relies on those who deny Israel as a Jewish and democratic state and that glorifies terrorists who murder our soldiers and citizens, or that a broad national union government will emerge.
The way ahead for Netanyahu or Gantz is not easy, and it's the numbers that tell the challenging story. Of the 120 seats in Israel's Knesset, a leader needs 61 of those seats to form a government. There are 55 seats on the right aligned with Netanyahu's Likud. On the left, Gantz's Blue and White has 44. But 10 members of the joint list of Arab parties could support Blue and White in a minority coalition. That adds up to 54 seats, but still short of the 61 magic number. That's why Avigdor Lieberman is described as a potential kingmaker. His party holds 8 seats, and he remains uncommitted. Regardless of who is chosen, it may take weeks to get a new government, and it's even possible Israelis could go to the polls for a third time. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Every weekend since June, tens of thousands of people in Hong Kong have been staging protests against their government and the nation of China. The demonstrations are increasingly turning violent, as they did this past weekend. Our George Thomas is on the scene in Hong Kong, and he brings us this report.
You know, it's quite remarkable to imagine that more than 24 hours ago, It was a completely different scene here at Shantin Mall in Hong Kong. On Sunday, scores of anti-government protesters squared off with riot police at a mall, subway station, and on the streets of Hong Kong's northern town of Sha Tin, in what has become an all-too-familiar scene. For 16 straight weekends, demonstrators took their anger and frustration to the streets, setting barricades on fire and blocking roads. Police responded by charging the crowds, firing tear gas and beating protesters. At one point during the day, demonstrators ripped and trampled on a Chinese flag, provoking an angry response from China's state media, which called the act blasphemy. In one suburb, a more peaceful march brought dozens of people together, singing the U.S. national anthem and holding American flags as they walked the streets. Demonstrators have urged the Trump administration to save Hong Kong from China.
Hong Kong is the forefront of the battle against the totalitarian regime of China, and this is the forefront of the free world. Please support us. Please support us in our fight.
The protests erupted over a controversial extradition law, which would have allowed Hong Kong citizens to be extradited to mainland China. Critics argued those extradited could face human rights abuses. The bill has since been withdrawn, but the protests continue as Hong Kongers push for more freedoms and less control from China. Meanwhile, the former British colony is bracing for potentially more chaos ahead of next Tuesday's 70th anniversary of the founding of the People's Republic of China. While the Chinese government will hold massive celebrations, authorities here in Hong Kong are canceling various events, including a major fireworks display that will mark the national holiday on October 1st. George Thomas, CBN News, Hong Kong.
And in Germany, hundreds of protesters gathered outside Cologne Cathedral yesterday. The protesters were calling for greater rights for women within the church and demanding abuse claims be dealt with more effectively. Protesters say there are more opportunities for women to participate in the church than they are given, and say that women should be allowed to preach during services. Organizers say around 800 protesters attended the event and formed a human chain around the cathedral. The rally was organized by the Alliance Maria 2.0, which supports a reform of the Catholic Church. An abortion doctor's testimony in a California court is startling as he details something Planned Parenthood does in order to sell baby body parts.
Introducing the CBN Bible from CBN.com. Now, an easier way to study the Bible and grow in your faith. Highlight your favorite verse. Read separate versions at a glance. Click and read a commentary. Or cross-reference your favorite verse using the Strong's Concordance. All the right tools to study the Bible, all in one place. The CBN Bible, available at cbn.com/Bible or the iTunes App Store.
It has the power to influence weight loss, boost your immune system, and improve brain function.
We've seen an explosion of data on the role of the gut microbiome in health.
The free Build a Better Gut booklet reveals the latest information about the gut microbiome. You'll discover how your gut affects the rest of your health.
The gut microbiome has been linked to depression and cancer and heart disease.
Learn how to build a stronger, healthier gut.
The microbiome, if it's in good composition, are really protecting us all the time from more invasive things.
Get the Build a Better Gut booklet, free from the Christian Broadcasting Network. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut.
You need to make sure that your microbes are working with you, not against you.
And if you order online, you'll get immediate access to the Build a Better Gut series, a digital copy of the booklet, and related bonus material. Build a Better Gut today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut for your free copy.
Here, we're committed to a heritage of rigorous scholarship dating back over 1,000 years.
And to a faith tradition dating back 1,000 more.
This is how we create a culture of inquiry where no topic is off limits.
And a culture of hope.
Anything's possible!
It's Christian leadership.
And it's changing the world for the better.
It's higher learning.
It's greater knowing.
It's what makes us whole.
It's what makes us Regent.
Prophecy thousands of years old.
We were called to be a light to the world.
Being fulfilled today. Discover how. Get to life. Call 1-800-700-7000.
We consider it our duty to reach out and help others around the world.
For a gift of $10 or more, you can own the acclaimed CBN documentary To Life. Just call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
To treat a human, no matter what he is, which religious he have, which color he is. This is what I'm doing.
See how the people of Israel are fulfilling prophecy.
History is being written, and I want to be a part of it.
By sharing their knowledge.
In Africa, in Asia, in South America, in East Europe.
And their love.
This is how we work. This is us.
Get to life. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
An abortion doctor who admits he's performed approximately 50,000 abortions says Planned Parenthood is going beyond regular abortion procedures to accommodate the sale of baby body parts. The Washington Examiner reports Dr. Forrest Smith is a witness for the defense in a case against pro-life activists David Daleiden and Sandra Merritt for publishing undercover video where Planned Parenthood executives allegedly admitted to the practice. LifeSite News reports Dr. Smith says, quote, "There's no question in my mind that at least some of the fetuses were live births. No question, it's alive." Kaylee McGee with the Washington Examiner joins me now with more. Welcome, Kaylee.
Thanks for having me.
You wrote an opinion piece on the trial and say this abortion doctor is helping to clearly expose Planned Parenthood's deceit. Talk about that.
Yeah, so this doctor's testimony is important because it really does expose the lies that Planned Parenthood has been telling for decades, and that is that it doesn't exploit abortions for profit, but obviously it does, as Daleiden's videos have shown over the past few years, and as this doctor's testimony confirmed.
What did Dr. Smith actually say about Planned Parenthood's procedures for abortion? What did he accuse them of?
He accused them of essentially triggering live births in order to then harvest fetal remains so that they would be better preserved. And he went on at length about the description of proper medical procedure used in normal abortions and then the procedures that Planned Parenthood doctors admitted to using in Daleiden's videos. And after examining those videos, the doctor was able to confirm that Planned Parenthood's methods were not at all in line with proper procedure.
So is Daleiden saying that these babies, or is this abortion doctor saying that these babies are being born? Let me start that over. Is this abortion doctor saying that these babies are being born, then killed for their body parts?
Essentially, that is exactly what he's accusing them of, and that's kind of what the Planned Parenthood executives that Daleiden got interviews with undercover were also saying. You know, whether that's completely true of all Planned Parenthood doctors, obviously we don't know, but clearly it is a problem in the organization.
Wow. Well, does the fact that Smith was a witness for the defense matter at all in light of what he told the court?
I think it does, especially since LifeSite News did report that he was paid to testify on Daleiden's behalf. So it is important to keep that detail in mind, especially when you weigh that against his testimony.
All right, so as you're following this trial, what is going through your mind? Is this going to be a major breakthrough, the result of this, as far as for either side? What is the magnitude of this trial?
I'm not sure what the magnitude will be in terms of the effects that it has on Planned Parenthood. We already know that a few Republicans on the House Judiciary Committee and the Senate Judiciary Committee have been pushing the Department of Justice to investigate Planned Parenthood over these claims, but nothing has really come of it yet. Now, the effects that it could have on Daleiden's freedoms moving forward could be pretty important.
What about Sandra Merritt in all this? Where does she stand? Does this obviously affect her freedom too as well?
Absolutely. It would affect them both. As of right now, they both face at least 14 felony counts for taking these videos without the consent of the Planned Parenthood executives. So it will be an important ruling that this court releases in terms of what undercover investigative reporters are allowed to report and what they're not.
Okay. All right. Kaylee McGee with the Washington Examiner. Thank you so much for your time and your insights. Still ahead, why one family in Denmark fled the country and where they were headed.
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. Life. Live it fully. CBN.com. Want to be a part of a community that inspires your spiritual growth while winning prizes? The all-new MyCBN app. Connect with the community for prayer and encouragement. Track and set spiritual goals. Enjoy conversation starters with friends and family. And collect points to win prizes. The all-new MyCBN app. A great place to belong. Download the app at cbn.com/mobile. Grow, connect, have fun. The all-new MyCBN app.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs, from health to entertainment, you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place, from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Check your local listings or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Come home to the sounds of Southern Gospel from CBN Radio. You'll enjoy a rich Southern blend of bluegrass, classic gospel, and Southern gospel favorites like the Gaithers, the Crab Family, and bluegrass sounds like Mountain Faith. So make yourself at home with the all-new CBN Southern Gospel, now available at cbnradio.com.
It has the power to influence weight loss, boost your immune system, and improve brain function.
We've seen an explosion of data on the role of the gut microbiome in health.
The free Build a Better Gut booklet reveals the latest information about the gut microbiome. You'll discover how your gut affects the rest of your health.
The gut microbiome has been linked to depression and cancer and heart disease.
Learn how to build a stronger, healthier gut.
The microbiome, if it's in good composition, are really protecting us all the time from more invasive things.
Get the Build a Better Gut booklet, free from the Christian Broadcasting Network. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut.
You need to make sure that your microbes are working with you, not against you.
And if you order online, you'll get immediate access to the Build a Better Gut series, a digital copy of the booklet, and related bonus material. Build a Better Gut today. Call 1-800-700-7000 or go to cbn.com/buildabettergut for your free copy.
Welcome back to Newswatch. They're a family who fled their home, taking only what they could fit in their suitcases. They weren't escaping from a war zone. They were fleeing Denmark and seeking asylum in the U.S. The question is, why? Dale Hurd has the answer.
Torben Søndergaard is the founder of the Last Reformation, a worldwide movement which seeks to return Christianity to the Book of Acts. He also began the Jesus Center in Denmark, which trained disciples from 30 nations to spread this message around the world. But Torben and his family fled Denmark this year like refugees fleeing a war zone, leaving with only what they could carry in 8 suitcases. The attacks against the ministry began in 2016, when the Jesus Center was investigated by 6 different Danish government agencies for everything from food safety to unpaid taxes. Officials found nothing wrong. Then last year, the government began to investigate the Søndergaard family when they began homeschooling. When they put their daughter back into public school, the investigations didn't stop. But the worst was yet to come. Torben Sondergaard's life and ministry would take a dramatic turn when Danish TV approached him and said it wanted to do a profile of his ministry. It sounded like it could be very positive. It wasn't. Danish TV sent not only a film crew, it also sent 2 undercover reporters into Torben's ministry. One who said he wanted to follow Jesus and was even baptized, and another who pretended to be mentally ill. The result was a news documentary called God's Best Children. It lumped Torben in with other so-called radical Christian ministries that had had serious moral or ethical failures, or even criminal activity.
When I saw that, I was like, I'm finished now. No one will ever trust me again.
Torben watched in horror as he saw himself depicted on national TV as a liar, as an abuser of children and the mentally unstable, through healings and so-called exorcisms, and as a quack who takes medicine away from the sick, something he says he's never done.
I've been doing ministry for 18 years. I never had problem. I never had complaints. Not like, of course, there've been misunderstanding. People have maybe got hurt and so on, like every other church and every other ministry. But when these programs started, it just changed the whole atmosphere in Denmark. We were like, we need to leave Denmark. This is not going to stop.
It didn't. Torben became a punching bag on Danish TV as guests on news shows pushed for a new law against Christians who allegedly inflicted mental violence on children through healings and deliverance.
And then they interviewed a state church priest talking about that we were the evil people coming as a predator to find the weak animals who were sick and eat them, and how we wanted to take people into the cult.
Then the demands grew in the media for Torben to be investigated for the crime of quackery.
And I just saw there that I was already guilty in the mind of the politician. I was already guilty in the mind of the people for something I have nothing to do with.
Torben was now a marked man, viewed as a dangerous person by many of his countrymen, worried that he would lose his children.
And we have people starting to call us, say that you have to leave Denmark now, because they're not going to stop. They want to continue getting you down. So we bought a ticket to America, and 2 days later we had packed 8 suitcases, and we left with our kids to America. And yeah, and it was very stressful. And now our center is closed. We had a 80,000 square feet center in Denmark is closed down. Our work is closed down. Everything is closed down.
The Sondergaards have appealed to the U.S. government for political asylum. Torben has testified in a sworn affidavit that if he is returned to Denmark, he risked being imprisoned and having his minor daughter removed from their family. The Danish press agency has ruled that Torben was misled by the journalist who made the documentary. But there's no government agency in Denmark that can give Torben his reputation back or guarantee his freedom if he returns. Torben now waits to see if his asylum request will be approved, and he said he dreams of starting a Jesus Center like he had in Denmark here in America.
And I believe through all of this, I also have a message to people in America that we need to be prepared. We need to be alert. To say that they will never have in America, that is a lie. I have said the same in Denmark. This is going to come to America.
Dale Hurd, CBN News.
We need to be vigilant, that is for sure. Well, after the break, what special moment one popular Christian rapper celebrated recently?
Life. It's meant to be lived fully. Jesus said it. I came to give you life. Life to the fullest. Life in your family. Life in your finances. Life in your body, mind, and spirit. Life in your everyday. At CBN.com, we're taking what Jesus said seriously. We're here to help you discover life. life. Live it fully. CBN.com.
On October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
And ministering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy.
Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place. Go to CBNNewsChannel.com to find out how to get the CBN News Channel on your TV all day, every day. CBN News.
We will move the American embassy to the eternal capital of the Jewish people, Jerusalem.
As the nations rage, you can stand with Israel.
History is being written, and I want to be a part of it.
Call 1-800-700-7000 and get to life.
This is our nature as a country.
Discover the untold story of how Israeli volunteers are changing the world.
We consider it our duty to reach out and help others around the world.
For a gift of $10 or more, you can own the acclaimed CBN documentary To Life.
To treat a human, no matter what he is, which religious he have, which color he is. This is what I'm doing.
Support Israel in their time of need. Get to Life, now available on DVD. Call 1-800-700-7000 or log on to CBN.com.
And I wish that other people throughout the world could see this side of Israel.
Region's first ROTC graduate student.
Christian rapper Lecrae traveled to Israel last week in what he called an incredible experience. Lecrae took to Instagram on Thursday, sharing that during his trip he was baptized in the Jordan River. He wrote, "I love the Jordan because of all the symbolism it holds. It was the border of the promised land. It was the picture of safety and security. Getting baptized in it was an incredible experience for me." He also said that walking in places God walked hits different when you see it with your own eyes. Good for him. Well, that's it for this edition of CBN News Watch. Remember, you can find more of our news programs on the CBN News Channel anytime or online with CBNNews.com. Also, tell us what you think about the stories you've seen by emailing newswatch@cbn.com or talk to us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Hope you'll join us next time. Have a great day.